friends. Hello, hello, hi. Hi, lovely people. Hi, hi, hi. So yes, thank you. So I made a video opening up about how I have ADHD, and so many of you left really wonderful, delightful, lovely, heartwarming comments and sharing your stories, sharing how most of you were not in any way surprised that I have ADHD. Thanks. And it was just very lovely, very heartwarming. Thank you. I appreciate your support, and it was delightful. Thank you very much. But I thought I would also do a follow-up video with questions that people had from the first video. So that is this is that. Hello, welcome to that video. So it's an off-the-cuff one where I will attempt not to talk too much about each question. That's a major symptom of my ADHD, so there you go, I've already answered one question. People asked, what are the main symptoms of your specific ADHD, Jessica? Talking a lot. I talk a lot. I'm not very good at letting people finish their sentences, because by the time they've started a sentence and got a few letters in, my brain's already come up with 50 ways for the sentence to end. So I genuinely used to find talking to people quite boring because I had already completed their sentence in my mind, which is not a very healthy way, really, to communicate with other people. It just got better as an adult. I think because we have a wider range of topics to talk about now, whereas when we were children and teenagers, we talked about the same thing most of the time, which probably didn't help. So, first actual question, what sparked you to first seek a diagnosis? For me, it was actually reading parenting books. Might be an interesting one there, but we started reading parenting books, I think about a year before we even started trying to conceive Rupert, which is quite far in advance. We definitely, interestingly, I'm a planner. I'm a big planner, which I guess you would expect. Like, I have the makings of being one of those people who color coordinates everything, has all the different labeled sticky tabs and the highlighters, and I do own these things. It's just the putting them into the practice and then maintaining that structure that is the difficulty for me. But I do love a system. I do love an organizational system, and it does work really well for me when it's working. So in reading the books, it was a lot about like toddlers aren't being naughty when they do things multiple times, they're just trying to learn the boundaries, and they don't learn about the consequences of their actions until they're later on, until they're about 8. And I remember reading this and being like, I'm sorry, other people know the consequences of their actions? Is that a thing? I don't really. No, I don't really know the consequences of my actions at all. And I remember a lot as a child getting told off for things and being like, why would you do this when you knew that this would happen? And being like, how would I know that would happen? I wouldn't know that jiggling this jug would make it fall over. How silly. And I still do that. I am the grand age of 34, and I still do stuff that then ruins things. And I'm like, wow, would another human have known that this bad stuff would happen? Darn. I think maybe as a child, I didn't continue the growth. Darn. I wonder what happened there. Should probably look into that. So I did. It's called ADHD. This video is a paid partnership with BetterHelp, because as we talk about getting a new diagnosis, oh my goodness, can it be helpful to talk to a professional about your mental health. Both BetterHelp and I believe that everyone, no matter your age, gender, sexuality, race, or disability status, should be entitled to therapy. BetterHelp assess your needs and match you with a credentialed therapist from the thousands they have available, so you're sure to find a good match, even if you're looking for a specific type of therapist or someone who specializes in a particular area that you're having trouble with right now, or even someone who speaks maybe a specialist language and isn't normally available in your area. Maybe you exclusively speak to therapists who specialize in disability. Well, that's made easy with BetterHelp. And don't worry if you don't find the perfect match at first, because with BetterHelp, it is okay to change your mind, and easy. As you can imagine, having ADHD, I change my mind a lot. And thankfully, BetterHelp are here to help me and not judge me if I want to. And you don't even have to tell the therapist, you just like press the button. You don't even have to have like an awkward breakup talk. One of my favourite things about BetterHelp is also that it is accessible. If you have time constraints because of a chronic illness, you can easily find appointments with a therapist who is available at a time that suits you. And they just take away the travel time, which is ideal for me because I'm not always feeling physically well enough to leave bed or my house, you know? But your BetterHelp therapist doesn't mind if you take the call from the comfort of your own bedroom. All therapists on the platform are trained, experienced, and accredited. They've got a range. If you're interested in trying BetterHelp, just head to the link in my description, betterhelp.com/Jessica Kellgren-Fozard for 10% off your first month. What is your relationship with the words deficit and disorder? Do they make you feel less than? Interesting. So that would be attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I personally don't have an issue with words that are bad like that, in much the same way that I don't have a problem with the word disabled applied to me. I don't think it's a bad thing and that I need to feel bad about it being applied to me, because I think it is very true and like I do have a problem in that sense. It is a disorder of my brain. My brain has a difference in the way that it is wired to the way that other brains are wired. The fact that it is, I mean, you could say that brain is like orderly because it is the standard, and that my brain would be disorderly in that it is differently wired. That would be one way of looking at it, I suppose. It doesn't feel to me that it's a harmful word. I would see it only as a helpful word that I could use to explain to people what my world is like internally. So it's a bonus that I can easily have something to say to someone else. Oh, I have a disorder in my function of attention and ability to process information. And someone can say, oh, okay, thank you for telling me. That's great, good. Now I know. I can better assist you in this way. So for that, I think that's only a bonus, right? Brilliant, cool. Now I have a way to help someone. Attention deficit. I do think that it's a quite interesting thing, really, because one thing about ADHD is that your attention is sometimes, yes, in a great deficit in that it moves. It's going all over the place, right? Sometimes you just cannot pay attention, but sometimes it is hyper-focused and you have so much attention, you're giving way too much attention to something. But I do still see that as a deficit because it's hard to pull it out and bring it where I want it to be. So it is still, again, a bit of a helpful word for me because I see it as a term that helps me to understand how my brain works. Oh, hi! A different dress, a different day. I had to stop filming. Don't know what you're talking about. Chaotic, perhaps. Yeah, no, I've been struggling with migraines this week. Fun, potentially unrelated story to ADHD. Yeah, still have physical disabilities. Still have. It's not like ADHD is a new thing in my brain. Just knowing about it is new. Anyway, let's go on. So, moving on to a question that does actually relate. How does ADHD affect my physical disabilities? I would say this is obviously a difficult question to answer in some ways. It's very difficult to pull apart symptoms, like where do they come from? Why does this happen? Fatigue, what causes it? Could it be because I have a missing gene that means there's a hole in the myelin sheath around my nerves and my body's trying to constantly overcome that and that's exhausting? Or is it because I have ADHD and my body wants to move all the time and is constantly doing this and that is exhausting? Both, all, everything. And my brain doesn't shut up and I cannot go to sleep because it will not shut up. Both of those. could lead to fatigue. So it's very difficult in that way to pull apart a symptom and say, why does that happen? But I think the things that I can point to and say, ADHD makes this easier or this harder when it comes to physical health is that it makes taking care of myself in having a disabled body a lot harder. ADHD makes taking care of your own body harder, and it makes it a lot harder when your body has a lot of additional needs anyway. I used to liken having a disabled body to having a baby. I used to think when I was going to university, like, I'm going to university and I'm being a student for the first time, but it's as if I'm joining university and I also have a baby to look after. I also have to think all the time about, well, if I go there, I've got to be back at this certain time because I've got to look after the baby, my body, and I've got to make sure that I've got food in. I can't just, skip a meal, grab some food here. I have to always be prepared. I have to always think about nourishment. I have to always make sure I'm getting enough food, that I've always got my medication, blah, 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 blah. And that's difficult when you have a brain that forgets to do stuff a lot. And adulting is a bit complex sometimes. So in that way, it does have a drawback to my physical health. But I guess in many ways, it also makes things a bit easier because I'm never bored, and I have to spend a lot of time lying down due to being ill for various reasons. Maybe I feel sick, maybe I've got a terrible migraine, maybe my blood pressure's horrendous, so I'm on the floor today. It's just all I can see is ceiling. But I'm never bored because my brain is, it's running a mile a minute. There's so much going on in there, so much, all the time. It's a lot. So that's good. That is a positive of ADHD. I am very busy in there. And another positive then is my medication, which I have found, a lot of you kind of asked from my last video. I did speak about it in my previous video, which you can click the link up here or in the description down there to watch, about the impact of my medication on my physical health. How did that affect things? And I've actually found that taking stimulant medication, which is what I am currently taking, and I sort of said I'm not going to really go into the different types of meds that I specifically take or have tried, because every single body is different and I don't want to accidentally sway you into trying something or thinking something's really good just because it works for me, because it might not work for you. But the type that I take, I've found has had a really positive impact on my physical health because it's helped push my blood pressure up a little bit and really to help stabilize it in a way, which is great because I have POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's not a long one. Again, if you don't know what that is, I have an explainer video, which can click here. But that means that my blood pressure tends to be all over the place, very much the kind of stand up and whoop, blood pressure goes down and I'm falling over and fainting. But with my medication, it's been a lot more stable. I've found my swelling has reduced less. I used to get like a lot of my joints swelling a lot. My medication has reduced that. Don't ask me why. Not a doctor. I'm going to talk to one though and find out more about this. I found that I have been able to do more physically a bit. Whether that then has a great after effect is debatable. I feel more able to do things physically, so I do more things physically. Does that then mean that I was actually able to do more things physically? Not sure, because I do then need more time to recover afterwards. So I don't know, it's interesting. I feel more capable. Whether or not I am is in question. What strategies have you developed to cope with ADHD? Oh my goodness, so many. Firstly, I have found that using Google Calendar is probably one of my absolute favourite things for coping. Oh, I'm sorry if this makes a noise, let's not bash them together. But yeah, Google Calendar is probably one of the best ones. Creating different calendars within Google Calendar that are then different colours. That's a really good one, because then you're better able to understand what it is that's actually going on. So for me, the way that I work, I have sort of a calendar that is the colour for writing, a calendar that is the colour for filming, a calendar that is the colour for editing, a calendar that is the colour for life stuff, just so I kind of can work out what it is that's going on where, and I can look at that in my day. You can also do things like colour blocking, or it can be a whole day event, that type of thing. It's always really helpful for me, and I'll actually leave notes to myself within my Google Calendar as a whole day event, because I know that I'll check it in the morning the next day. So if I want to leave myself a note that's like, reminder to send flowers to friends, I will put that in as a whole day event on the next day, just to give myself that note. Reminder to tell Claudia that you'd like to do this. I'll leave it as a calendar notification to myself. You could just text your wife or something, or tell her because she sat next to you. But no, calendar event the next day. So that's always a great one. Pieces of paper. For me, I have a whole video about how I have a memory board, which is like a mind board, where I just sort of write stuff down. That's quite a good one. Lots of people have different ways of using their mind. For some people it's obviously a more visual thing that they need. Pieces of paper are just a joy for me. A joy. I can't really do everything online. It very much has to be, I have to use pieces of paper. That has to be one of the things. I guess another coping mechanism is also my hands. Moving my hands. Yeah. As a child I used to do, I became obsessed with symmetry. In order to cope with my being really hyper, I taught myself to do everything symmetrically. So I would write forwards with my right hand and backwards with my left hand, so that I could write at the same time. That was a way to calm myself down. Your face! Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I also used to fold pieces of paper. And that's another really good thing. So if you get an A4 piece of paper and you just keep folding and folding and folding and folding it, and you make the lines really precise until you've folded it into the smallest possible number of lines it can be. I was a very strange child, I suppose, but this was how I used to calm myself down to cope with being hyper. I just used to fill maths books with Fibonacci's. Oi! I used to put alarms on my phone for things like medications and time to go to bed, and I would ignore them hard. So I don't do that anymore because it's pointless. I will just turn it off. So now I just have people. I make people do it. I get someone else to tell me that it's time to take my medication. That's what helps. That's what works. Brilliant. Thank you, other humans. And I know if I'm gonna, because pre-medication I did have an issue with my emotional dysregulation, and I would sometimes can get too deeply upset about something, or not even upset, but just too intensely emotive about a thing. So I would connect my attention to something else, find something else to be obsessively interested in, whether it's a mobile game or a book series or a type of baking, something that I would just become very, very obsessed with, whilst I know something highly emotive is about to happen or is ongoing. And if I knew that was coming up, I would just find something obsessive as a way of preventing myself from going off the emotional plank. Is any of that helpful? I should maybe I should look into some more actually tips. When you signed in videos, did it help give you stimming relief? And the answer is yes. Yes it did. Yes it does. It still very much helps me to sign with Rupert and with Claudia, so yes. Yes. It does. Were you nervous to reveal your ADHD diagnosis? Yes. Yes I was. Yes, I guess it's an interesting thing, right? To be like, why? Why? I'm supposed to be all, and I guess I'm an advocate for disabilities, right? I shouldn't be nervous about it, but also I am, because it's a, personal thing. I have my personal feelings, but I definitely felt, it felt really lovely to get diagnosed. I felt a great sense of relief, and that's something that I also saw in comments, particularly on the sort of reel that I made on Instagram, people are like, well, why? Why is it a nice thing to be diagnosed? Why would you feel good about it? What does it matter? And I'm like, well, because it's a sense of relief, right? Because my brain has been the same way, whether I have a diagnosed label or not. It's just that now I know why my brain is different to the brains, why I react differently to these situations, and why there are things that I can't comprehend in the same way as other people, or as I have been told that I should. So it's really lovely to be like, oh yeah, that's why. And it was such a fulfilling experience to sit through my diagnostic process and be told by a doctor, like, yeah, no, wow, as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult, that must have been really hard for you to do as someone who has ADHD. And be like, yeah, it was. Rather than just, that must have been hard, full stop, or the kind of like, yeah, most people are able to do that. Yeah, damn, most people are. Why couldn't I? But to instead have it recognized as, right, yes, that was a difficulty. So it felt lovely for me, but as someone who already has physical disabilities, like, I've got 2 of them as well. Like, I've got 2 genetic disabilities, and I'm like, wow, cool, here's my 3rd. It's not that everyone's ADHD is genetic. It doesn't necessarily work like that, but not something that everyone necessarily understands. The way that if you have one thing wrong with your body, you are more likely to have other things wrong with it as well, because that's the way bodies and brains work as well. We are like clocks with series of cogs, right? And if one cog goes wrong or is out of step, out of beat, then the others are also more likely to be so. And that is very much the case with me. I'm a series of funny shaped cogs. Is it helpful to tell someone who's showing clear signs of ADHD? No, I don't really think it's great idea to necessarily tell someone straight out, I think you have X, unless you are like this person's absolute nearest and dearest and they are expressing to you, you know, like, I'm really struggling with my brain. I think I might have a neurodivergence. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure which one it might be. And then you can be like, I mean, have you ever considered it could possibly be, I don't know, like, could it be ADHD, something like that? And you're just like, maybe putting it out there because, you know, you're just giving options because they've asked for options. That's fine. I think if it's a bit different if they are just being they're a bit messy today. You're like, I think you've got ADHD, friend. That's not quite the same thing. Not quite the same thing. Much like telling people you think they're gay. It's not really the done thing there. They're pals. How does ADHD affect your parenting? Well, I think in some ways this definitely goes back to what I was talking about at the start of the video in terms of parenting books. Like, we are quite aware that due to compounding factors, we need to be more prepared. There needs to be more planning, more prepping, more schedules. So we definitely keep a routine where a lot of our baby friends, friends who have children, we've sort of said, you know, well, what books do you follow? What's your routine for this, and this? And they've been like, nothing, Jessica. It's not how we roll. We just do things as it happens. And that is not possible in this house. Absolutely not. We could not allow things to just happen, to just be, because things would rapidly get out of control, I suppose. If I'm left alone without Claudia, without Paige, hey Paige, and without any assistance, I will forget to eat. I will forget to take my medication. I will probably either spend the entire day like cleaning one area of the house, or like moving up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down the house, or I just won't move at all. Brilliant. Just generally doing things that aren't great for me, unless I have a real structure and a plan. And the same thing is true of our parenting, where we need a good routine. So from the age that Rupert was really little, we had a structure in place, and it wasn't a kind of to the minute, the baby has to eat right this second and has to fall asleep right this second, because babies aren't like that. But it was very much, this is when we start preparing the food. This is when we start winding down. This is when we make sure that we have everything ready to do the next step, whether that be like bath time or going out to the park. Making sure that each day had a regular flow to it, which was really something that was very helpful both for him as a little baby and for us as parents. And our days are still very much like that. We still need to eat at the same time, do the same thing in the evening. Having ADHD as a parent makes you a lot of fun. I think he has a great time with me. Like, I think it's great for kids to have parents who will randomly dance in the kitchen and, I mean, dress like a fairy princess. Is that related to ADHD? Maybe not. I don't know. But his school friends like it. So, ho-ho. Yeah, he has a sense of fun into his life, for sure. Love playing with him. I have no issue doing repetitive games with him forever and ever and ever. His current favourite thing in the moment is sticker books. He's really into stickers, especially the like dolly dressing ones where it's a series of people on the page and then you put their clothes on them. He loves to know their names and things about them, and he will go, what's this one's name? What's this one's name? What's that one called? What's this one's name? What's this one's name? What's that one called? Over and over and over again. And you just need to repeat their names and give one identifying piece of information about them over again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And I find that having ADHD, I don't really get bored very easily. Because again, I've got very many different streams of information going on in my head all at once. It's fine. I just divert one of them to saying the names of the character on a page repeatedly. Okay, well, thank you so much everyone for watching all the way to the end of the video. It's been lovely sharing some more things with you. Let me know what else you would like to see in the kind of ADHD vein. I would love to make some more videos about ADHD. I think I'd like to make some collabs with ADHD YouTubers. That's weird. YouTubers who have ADHD. Also just look into different topics and areas about the condition. So let me know what you would be interested in seeing from me down in the comments below. Again, thank you so much to everyone who left such really warm and lovely messages on my coming out about ADHD video. I was genuinely quite nervous to talk about it, so it is really lovely to have had such a positive response. So thank you very much. Thank you. That was very kind. And if you're new here and this is your first ever video, or you've been watching a number of videos for a while and just haven't remembered to subscribe, then my goodness, do so. The button's right down there. It's clearly marked. Hit subscribe. I'm so close to 1 million subscribers now. Come on. Hit it, and then I will think of something very exciting to do for my 1 million subscribers. Yay! Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget you can get 10% off your first month if you click the link in the description. So betterhelp.com, that's better and then help, HELP.com/Jessica Kellgren-Fozard. I know it's a difficult name to say. Again, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!